And ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to this very special segment where we talk about what we can do at this point in time in relation to travel. And a very special segment as the 35th episode of the travel updates with Tanvi Goel of Oz in the Travel. So with that, Tanvi, welcome to your 35th episode.
Thank you so much, Umesh. Thank you, everyone, once again. So I'm really excited to be here and here with you again with so many updates in Australia, in India, and everywhere around the world. And I'll tell you all about the flights and everything. Before we go ahead, just a bit of disclaimer. So anything we discuss today is all general information only. As you know, rules and regulations can change anytime, and it can differ person to person as well. So please keep yourself updated.
And of course, yes, whatever is discussed is information only. For specific cases, do contact Tanvi and get your cases sorted out. Well, moving right into the show, at this point in time, who can fly from Australia to India?
From Australia, any Indian citizen on temporary visas can fly. There is no issue with that. And as far as Australian citizen and PR is concerned, you can apply for exemption, and happily they are coming nicely from last full week. So there are some categories. The main categories are if your family is very sick, or especially parents have a life-threatening situation and there is no one else to look after them, you can apply for exemption. That's number one. Number two, if there is a unfortunate death in family for your close family member, especially parents, you can go. And number three, if your minor child is stuck overseas in India, you can apply for exemption. So these are the three categories. If you are eligible, please apply for exemption and you are good to go to India. Missy.
Okay, so we have found out all those options, and under those conditions, you are able to travel from Australia to India. Well, we'll go through all the options one by one. Right now, let's take a look at what flight options we have from Brisbane at this point in time.
So from Brisbane, we have Emirates flight going at least once a week. That's every Fridays as usual, and going really nicely from last 3 months. I'm observing flights are doing well. Staff is really excellent and giving fantastic services to all the clients. So thank you to Emirates. And also Qatar is doing well. From last couple of weeks, we are sending passengers with Qatar too. Guys, I just want to inform you the difference and what I recommend. So basically, if you're going one way, it's good to take Emirates because Emirates is giving you a lounge option, hotel option as well. And at the terminal, we have a hotel who is giving you pre-check-in options as well. So that's a paid option you can take at Dubai airport. Or if you're going to go to India and come back within 3 months or so, then you can apply. You can book Qatar flights as well, who are going pretty much at least one flight a week. And you will be able to save at least a couple of $1,000 if you are taking a return flight. So just remember that if you're going one way, best to take Emirates. If you're doing a two ways, then you can take Qatar. So Emirates-wise, the next flight available is on 18th of July, then 25th of July, 2nd of July, and 9th of July. And for Qatar, we have one flight a week from Brisbane.
So there you go. You're up to date on the travel updates. Well, right now, moving on. So what about Sydney? What are the options open from Sydney?
So from Sydney, Emirates is on 19th of June, 22nd of June, 26th and 29th. So mainly every Tuesday, at least you have one stop option from Sydney. And also we have a couple of Qatar flights are going from Sydney as well. Just remember, in case of Qatar, they generally have 14 hours halt. If you guys need to take a lounge, please pre-book that. That's very important because that's really busy airport at this stage. But yes, there are plenty of flights from Sydney now.
Okay, so Sydney is all good to go. Well, right now, the cases are happening, and today there have been some other, clusters that have been investigated is all I can say, but because they're still waiting for all the results, and I'm talking about Melbourne, of course. So what is the status of flights from Melbourne?
So even in spite of all the lockdowns and issues in Melbourne, guys, flights are still operating without any issues. And happily, we have at least 2 flights from Emirates as well. So the ones going every Wednesdays and Fridays. So we have 19th, 23rd, 25th and 30th of June. That's the Emirates flight. And we have Qatar flights as well, a couple of flights every week from Melbourne to India to all the main cities.
So there you go. Despite all the restrictions and everything, which are slowly easing, which are slowly being lifted, flights are still going. So that is wonderful news. Well, right now, let's go to Adelaide and check out what's happening in Adelaide.
So from Adelaide, we have flights, but remember, they all are going with 2 stops. I could not see any single stop option from Adelaide this stage. We have to 18th of June, 23rd, 25th, or 30th, or I can connect you any flight via Melbourne or Sydney. One thing I want to mention here, guys, I was looking for some clients a couple of days back, the Adelaide flights. And I observe when we are booking the straight away connection from Adelaide to Melbourne to, let's say, Dubai to Delhi, then the connection is coming expensive. And so what we do is we connect the domestic flight separately within the same PNR, and that makes it cheaper. So there are quite a few options where we can give you some reliable options, and also we can give you options where there are less halt times than the pre-made ones. So if you check online as well and you think, oh my God, there are 50 hours total journey time and that's the only option, that's incorrect. There are quite a few ways where we can give you shorter journey options than that with Fairfield. But there are at least one flight, reliable ones we can have from Adelaide to India at this stage.
So that is good news as well, that you have those that option as you manage. It's not direct. There might be that stopover, but that's okay. Well, what about Perth from Western Australia? What are the options from there?
So from Perth, we have at least 1 flight a week, and sometimes we have 2 flights as well. So at this stage, we have 20th of June, 24th, 27th, and 1st of July. And also we can connect the Qatar flight from Perth as well. So yes, plenty of flights from Perth as well.
So Perth is also good to go. Well, right now, moving on, so you have quite well explained all those options that we have from the major cities of Australia. Well, of course, thing that people have been asking for, and remember there had been some uproar within the community about bringing people back from India. So what's the status? What's the status of flights coming from India to Australia?
Okay, so there are quite a few flights coming from India to Australia, happily. And I am really happy to say that, I'll be discussing with you in Australian sector that, the students are scheduled to come to New South Wales very soon. So those people can take flight as well, which is great. And also before we go ahead, just wanna, update or, ask the students, if you have not registered yet, please do register with HCI. So High Commission of Indian High Commission in Canberra. So they know that you are stuck there and try to rescue you. That's very, very important, because I was checking some, news somewhere that not many students have registered so far, so they don't know exactly how many are there. So please do that. That's very, very important. And also want to tell you, before I tell you the options that who can come from India to Australia. So still, all the Australian citizens, PR exemption holders, and mostly the students who will be exempted, they all can come from India to Australia without any issues. Flight wise, guys, right now only air bubble of Qatar Airways and Japan Lines coming. Japan Lines flight is every Wednesday from India to Australia. That flies only Delhi to Sydney, but it's pretty sold out for next couple of months. But still, we can try if there is last minute seat available on that one. And Japan Lines only got the business class. It starts around $6,500. Number 2 is a Qatar Airways flight. So Qatar Airways flight mainly got the business class as well for a couple of months, and once again we can do economy seats. They come close to the date and going pretty well. So there are quite a few options, but in September, if you want to come September or after, we can book you economy straight away. So you're getting confirmation straight away for Qatar Airways flights too. And if you want to book before September, then it's generally confirmed 2 to 10 days before departure. So better you are ready with all your stuffs and check where you have to do a corona test and everything, because they are generally last minute deals you get in Qatar, from India to Australia. Other thing, guys, I want to inform, because there were so many people who asked the same questions and a bit scared as well. Because Qatar has cancelled some flight in July and some flights are rescheduled as well. But it's not like all flights are cancelled or it's affecting everything. So I got many passengers flying from India to Australia every couple of days in June, and I got many passengers already booked in for August and September and October as well. And none of the flights got cancelled. what I observed was majority of there are some agents who are booking very cheap flights, like we discussed before as well, and maybe overbooking. That's why people got opt out. So you have to be very very careful that which flight and what options you are booking. But yes, those flight cancelled. If you booked the July flight and your flight got cancelled, Qatar is giving you substitute option in September, and also you can try if they can give you anything before. But flights are doing well, so please don't panic and don't worry about it at all. If you need any specific question and if you are in different circumstances, you can always give me a call on my team. We are there to help you, and we can contact airlines as well that what can be done with your flight. But yes, flights are doing well, especially in June, August, September and after with Qatar Airways. And of course there are deferred flights as well. So if you want to come in one of the deferred flights, don't forget to register with DFAT. Just jump on their website and they would know that you are stuck in India. One more thing I want to mention to you here is which I recently noticed, that DFAT in some of the flights, they believe that you have already arrived in Australia, because the system is pretty much, whenever people leaving, they're not informing DFAT that they have left. So recently I heard from some passengers that, they are still in India, but they received, when they called DFAT, they heard that, they think that they have already arrived Australia. So please update your registration with DFAT as well. That's very very important. So you get invitation from DFAT as well. And the same time, we have always air bubble flights coming up, which we can book for you. And some people ask another question about Emirates, whether Emirates going to start from India to Australia or not. So at this stage, Emirates is banned up till 6th of July, and we are expecting this time they will start from 7th of July onwards, but we can't say anything. So I won't recommend you to book Emirates flight from India to Australia at this stage, because they might extend the ban further as well. But yes, let's be optimistic and go close to the date. If they opens up, that will be fantastic. We'll have a lot more options, and we might be able to book return flight for Emirates as well from Australia to India to Australia. But at this stage, Qatar Airways and Japan Airlines are operating from India to Australia. Misty.
And of course, with that kind of operation, it is always good to check and double check, as you have mentioned on a few of the occasions, and people just need to be very, very careful. Well, right now, everyone's talking about the local economy, and everyone's talking about local tourism. That's lots happening. That our people are quite actually busy, despite what all the talks are, because if people are not going overseas, they need to travel. They need to have their holidays, so they're spending locally. So what are exciting things happening nationally in Australia?
Basically, before we go ahead, and I tell everyone that what can be done and what's a little update in Australia, I have seen a really nice, very interesting survey, which I thought I would share with you all. So I saw the overnight spend, within Australia was around 6 million in March this year, which was reaching around 94% of the level seen 2 years ago in 2019. So it was really very exciting figure. In fact, I saw that rural areas are continuing to fare better than the capital cities. So these days people are flying mainly or traveling mainly in rural areas, especially in South Australia. I've seen increase really strongest. So they spend around 70% compared to March 2019. So that was really exciting to see. And I thought, I'll share with you guys about that. In fact, I have seen the interstate travel has really increased a lot. The figure which I saw recently was around Australians taking around 2.2 million interstate travel trips, up like 55% in February, and spending around $2.8 billion. That was double than the previous month and the last year as well. So what I can tell you guys that that international travel is off, but this is the best opportunity for you to really explore and see our own backyard in Australia. It's really amazing, especially in rural areas. You probably, noticed in last few months, I have shared a lot of information with you all that, there are so many places in rural areas and in Australia which are, upgraded, and new walks and new structures and new pathways which are built in Australia. So yeah, I would really encourage you all to please go, and travel all around Australia, and tell us as well that what's the new thing you have seen. We are really happy to include in our episode, and maybe encourage other people as well, to travel all over Australia. So this is like a survey which we have seen. It's quite exciting. Next up, guys, I have seen a new walk as well. The New South Wales government has announced $80 million in funding for new iconic multi-day walks in the state national parks. The first will be the Great Southern Walk, a 5-day journey stretching around 59 kilometers across the spectacular, and escapes and Rural National Park and Cambridge Botany Bay National Park. And the walk is expected to be completed by 2024. I know it's a fair way to go, but definitely a great news for us that, we have a lot more new walks to go through. With the development also featuring a new mountain biking network, which will become a major draw card for visitors to the area, with 44 kilometers of uninterrupted, sustainably maintained track between Mount Keira and Mount Kambla. So that's amazing. Another app is from New South Wales as well. That's a student pilot, which I was discussing a little bit earlier as well. But really very, very amazing news for all the students, who are overseas and really very enthusiastic and, desperately waiting to come back. So that's a really amazing initiative by New South Wales. So New South Wales government got the new pilot program announced, and they said they're going to welcome back international students from as early as from next month. The plan will allow around 250 foreign students to arrive every fortnight and increasing to around 500 students per fortnight by the end of the year, which is really great. New South Wales Treasurer also said that without the pilot program, the lack of student visitation could cost the New South economy more than $11 billion by the end of the next year. So if you see the economy-wise as well, it's very, very important that the students come back because they really give or contribute a lot to the Australian economy as well. So next up is from Victoria. So as you know that we have a bubble between Australia and New Zealand, and every time if there is any outbreak in any of the states, then they pause it. So I just saw that as well, that Victoria is still on pause, especially up to 17th of June, which is today. And hopefully they're going to open it if everything goes well.
Wow.
So, but anyone who were in a different state, especially between 20 and 25th of May, they are allowed to go to New Zealand. So if you're visiting your friend in different state or your family in different state, you can just do a COVID test, 72 hours pre-departure, and you are all good to go to New Zealand. Another, guys, I have seen really amazing, news as well that Tourism Tasmania and Brisbane, Australia partnered to give passengers Bullen Long Jones. So that was really something new which I have seen, and I thought I'll share with you guys as well, because you might get chance to get one of those free of charge. So as part of the extraordinary off-season winter campaign, Tourism Tasmania is supporting travelers to embrace the winter and revel season by providing a limited number of free merino wool long johns to keep travelers toasty warm during their wild winter adventures. So they are partnering with Vision Australia to help launch this brand. So passengers on BA 1528 flight from Sydney to Hobart last Friday were welcomed by the board, by the pilot and the cabin crew wearing this long johns, and were the first travelers to be treated complimentary fare on arrival to Tasmania. And also the interstate travelers will have the opportunity to pick one of those pair of Loon Jones from a designated stand in the Hobart Airport on Friday, 2nd of July 2021 with limited stock supplies, and they have some different sizes as well. So if you are flying to Hobart Airport on 2nd of July, make sure you try and grab one. So this will be your maybe once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't know, something like this will happen later on, but I can tell you I have never heard anything like that before. So these are the main updates that we are discussing.
And what an idea, the long johns, yes. And I've just noticed that the sizes they have is XS till XL. What about XXL? I don't know whether they're long enough for me.
And different sizes. But yes, if you are small size, extra small, then extra large, you can be. But yes, otherwise you have to buy, or maybe just give it to your friends.
Yeah, okay,
To
but
get
the interstate people are only getting a loan one, aren't they? They have to return that. Oh well, anyway, but it's still that is quite a good deal there. And I think that a lot of people are going to Tasmania. I've heard even from my circle of friends, I think people who had never been, they've always been thinking that one day we'll go to Tasmania. All of a sudden you hear they are in Tasmania. So all of a sudden Tasmania is being rediscovered. All the locals are actually going there. Well, okay, moving on from those very interesting updates from what's happening locally, and of course that very lucrative offer of the Long Johns on the Virgin flight. Virgin's my favorite airlines locally. Sorry, put in a plug there for Virgin. What's happening on the international scene?
So, guys, if you remember, from so many months we have been talking about IATA Pass. So it seems like the time is really coming when it's going to be live very, very soon. So IATA has confirmed its Travel Pass app will go live in coming weeks following a series of trials with the airline. So IATA director said the feedback so far had been really very positive after testing with estimated around 60,000 people. Carriers to have trialed the pass so far includes Qantas and Air New Zealand, with the initiative aiming to speed up the resumption to international travel through the real-time provision of the digital health updates and clearances. So that's really amazing. Hopefully we all going to really experience this very, very soon. Next is from Air New Zealand, New York, Norfolk deal. So Air New Zealand has announced it will establish a temporary pilot and cabin crew based in Brisbane to support extended Norfolk Island services. So Airlines has expanded its agreement with the federal government to operate flight between Norfolk Island and Australia from 30th of August, which is not too far away, until the end of at least August 2023. So they're thinking for at least 2 years at this stage, with the base plan until the end of November to ensure potential disruptions to travel bubble do not affect the continuity of services. New Zealand utilized an Airbus A320 to operate at least 3 flights a week from both Sydney and Brisbane. New Zealand has also operating between Australia to Norfolk Island since 2012. So it's been 9 years and was only airlines operating scheduled services last year. So that's really great news. Next is from Emirates. So Emirates is to Malta. So Emirates will resume operations to Malta from 14th of July, with a new 3 weekly flights operating via Larnaca in Cyprus and Malta, reopened to tourists from UAE, if you know, in 1st of June, as we mentioned before, with the boosting lifting EK European network to 34 destinations. In fact, Fly Dubai also came up and they expanded more of their offerings. So the Fly Dubai is basically low-cost carrier of Dubai. They have also announced the launch of non-new stop routes to Budapest in Hungary, as well as Ljubljana in Slovenia, boosting its network to 29 ports. So these two airlines going to give you a lot more offers, especially to the summer destinations in coming time, in the coming months. You'll see there'll be a lot more connections and better fares and a lot more things to offer. Next up is from Singapore Lines. So Singapore and Australia might have a bubble very soon, like we have been discussing once again from so many months. This time, Singapore Lines Regional Vice President Lewis said the airlines remains committed to working with all the levels of government to reopen travel between Australia and Singapore, and they are very, very keen to open it and make sure it's safe, staggered opening of borders to facilitated the return of more Australians, international students, and also the aviation on the path to recovery. So as we know that Singapore Lines really have been always amazing. They have done so many new initiatives, and this is again a very good initiative and very good act from them, that they are really making sure that everything would be safe and ensuring and trying and planning that we have the air bubble between Australia and Singapore. So we might have that very, very soon. Next from Cathay Pacific. So Cathay Pacific has confirmed it will shut its Aussie pilot base in Sydney, in move that will see around 120 staff forced to relocate or redundancy. Cathay Pacific has reportedly cut around 5,900 jobs since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, and we don't know when the Cathay Pacific is going to start later. So as you know, everything is really going at standstill with Cathay Pacific. So at this stage, it's definitely not a good. If you see the flights coming, online, then probably check it before you book them, because probably not a very good idea. Next is from Air Canada. So Air Canada extend refunds, which is really good news. So Air Canada has extended its COVID-19 refund policy by another 30 days, allowing passengers who have purchased a non-refundable ticket at least before 30th of April for travel on or after 1st of February 2020. You can still submit a request of refund online or via your travel agents. In fact, but they have seen that not many people have requested for refund, and what they anticipated, majority of people have applied for the credit to fly in future, which is really great as well. But if you're one of those who are thinking not to fly to Canada or fly with Air Canada in future, you will still have time to apply for your refund, which is great news. Next is from Munich. So Munich International Airport is set to reopen the terminal number 1 as the air traffic continues to rise. So Munich long-haul routes are being gradually restored as the deployment of COVID-19 vaccine continues, which is great as well. So with all the relocated airlines except Eurowings to return to Terminal 1, so they are all good to go, and hopefully we'll be going through that airport very, very soon too. Next, I want to tell you a little bit about cruises as well. Like I always like to mention that yes, they are the cruise lines who are really tirelessly working to take all of us to cruise lines, to cruise and sail and have really best time. So this time is Hurtigruten, that's an expedition cruise line. They have revealed its booking for 2022 are currently around 45% ahead of the booking the same time 2019. So notably, before the pandemic struck, they were really booking were pretty much standstill last year, but this time they are really booking so well, and that's 45% ahead, as I mentioned before. And they have also seen the substantial growing demand for the authentic adventure travel, specifically. And their CEO said after a very challenging year and a half for the entire travel industry, they are very, very excited to really welcome you all on the board and make sure that you all are happy and safe. So these are the main updates internationally.
Wow, that's a lot, and a lot that's happening. Of course, we got the complete breakdown of all the things that are happening there. Of course, that Munich International Airport reopening Terminal 1, which is another sign of recovery that things are slowly coming back into normal. Well, if people are traveling to all these lovely destinations, and if they are fortunate enough to get on a flight, what are the tips for people at this point in time?
Basically, very first thing I would recommend everyone to please check the current rules and regulations. You probably know, noticing that I am mentioning that all the time because I believe it's very, very important, guys. Keep checking the latest rules and regulations, whether you need any state pass, whether there's any new update came up, whether airlines has made any changes, whether your flight is still active. And I would highly recommend you all, doesn't matter you're flying overseas or you're flying in domestic, always do a web check-in or check your booking before you leave home, and 24 hours before departure. The 2 times I would recommend you to check your flight 24 hours before departure and before you leave home, because sometimes the changes may happen last minute, and it will be a difficult situation for you later on. Second up, guys, it's very, very important that you check that you have all the documents ready and it's all done. I have seen so many people got stuck with Australian declaration form from India to Australia. In fact, just 2 days back, I was up by till 2 o'clock in the morning because passenger had flight 3 o'clock in morning from India, and I was here 2 o'clock. And because you can't leave India until you fill the Australian declaration form. So sometime when you keep filling in the same Explorer, or in the if you're using Google Chrome is the best option, best Explorer to fill your application. But sometimes it shows you error because you have filled quite a few times. There are some cookies at the back, but please don't worry. The solution of that is, first of all, don't fill in your phone, because in phone it doesn't show you a proper format and it keeps going and it may take forever for you to book the forms. So best to use your laptop and to fill all the forms. If one Explorer is not working, just try a different one. You can restart your system as well, like a normal technical things, but please don't leave it to the very last minute. try to fill them as soon as your flight is booked, at least 2 to 3 days before departure, not a very last minute, because then if it's not filled, then you can be stuck. Like I told him, one of my passengers was stuck 2 days back, and it was very difficult. Second is from your COVID test as well. I got one of the passenger who, even I informed that you have to, take the COVID test, which has to be ICMR approved labs, but still he has taken from a private center and think it will work. Though it worked, somehow airlines agreed, but it's not, you want to be always fortunate that airlines will agree on those reports. So if they have mentioned that it has to be ICMR approved, it has to be ICMR approved. Please don't take risk, and also please don't go till last minute that you will do it airport. Though you can do at airport if you are booking a last minute flight and you have no other option. But I would recommend you do a COVID test 48 hours before departure from India. And please do it in your nearest place and make sure you get the report within time as well, not to the last minute, because that can be another hassle for you as well. And please fill all the required other things as well. For the state pass for Queensland, it has to be on arrival. But for Perth and other places, you have to fill it online. So please do that. Those who are going from Australia to India, once again, I have seen people have a lot of confusion. Please remember, if you're flying from interstate as well and you have 2 domestic flights, 2 stops flight, for example, people from Adelaide, please remember it's from your international flight. So if your international flight, as a thumb rule, I can tell you from Australia to India, all Emirates flights are flying around 9 p.m. So your time starts from 9 p.m. to the time you have given your sample. So that's very, very important. If you fail to do that, airlines won't let you go, guys. That's very, very important. And last but not least, please be very careful how you're booking your flight, especially India to Australia. There are so many scams happening and so many news coming every other day. So you don't want to lose your hard-earned money. And also don't just book randomly. Check whether that airlines is flying or not, whether they are under the air bubble system or not. So you can call us as well to update or check all these details. If you are planning to fly in future, especially after November, October, November or December, I would recommend you to please hold for your booking for some time. Let's go close to the date and then you book it, rather than you book it now for the next year as well from India to Australia. If you want to send us any expression of interest, you can send us by email. You can give me a call on 04044032264. You can jump on our Facebook, which is Oz India Travel. And also you can jump on our website, which is www.ozindiatravel.com.au, and you can send me email, which is tanvi@ozindiatravel.com.au. So we are there. I'm there with you. Doesn't matter what you have booked with us or not. I'm there to help you, to guide you, to fill all the forms and make sure you're healthy and happy and safe over here. And if you like this episode, please share with your family and friends. And also you can see our last 34 episodes as well, which is on Australian Indian Radio, Facebook and YouTube channels, and also on Oz India Travel Facebook page as well. And please like, tag and share with your friends. That's very, very important. There are so many people who are really, feeling that, one day they will be home. So your little message, your little update can really give them a hope that they will be home very, very soon, especially those who are stuck in India. So I hope you are happy and healthy and safe. If you have any question, feel free to message us. We'll try to answer you as soon as possible, or you can give us a call as well. Thank you so much.
And wonderful message, healthy, happy and safe. So, it is very, very important that we do that. And looking at all the tips and points, yes, please do go back and have a look at those episodes. All the episodes are there. You can watch them either via Facebook or via YouTube channel as well. So, the choice is yours. Whichever one you want to search in, you can search in through the search engine and you'll find the previous 34 episodes, as this is the 35th episode. And once again, Tanvi, thank you so much for all those updates. And it is exciting times as things are slowly changing. But it is very important for all of us to be careful. And to do the right thing. As you mentioned, if the form needs to be done that way, it needs to be done that way. If a test needs to be done in a specified time, it needs to be done in that specified time. This is sometimes I have problem with sometimes within our community as well, trying to explain to people that things are there for a reason. Some rules have been made for a purpose, and that they need to be followed. You can't. I was freaking out when you were talking about last minute, that people sometimes leave things for the last minute to fill in the forms or whatever, and filling in a form on the phone. That's not my favorite either. I hate that. I'd rather have a laptop or sit at a PC to do that. So those were some very, very handy tips there. Once again, thank you so much for sharing all that information with us on episode 35.
Thank you so much, Umesh. Thank you, everyone. Take care and happy and healthy and safe. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.